And we begin in Utah with that manhunt, as investigators have said today they are confident they'll be able to track the suspect's movements after he gunned down Kirk at a campus event in that state. Here's what we know right now. Authorities have yet to identify that shooter, but in a new update this morning, the FBI says it did recover a high-powered bolt-action rifle believed to be used in that attack. They say they have gotten more than 100 tips so far, and they are bringing every resource to bear. Meanwhile, tributes continue to pour in for Charlie Kirk. President Donald Trump announcing this morning that he will posthumously award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the conservative activist. I want to go now live to our Tegna reporter from one of our sister stations, Jim Nelson, who is live in Orem, Utah. And Jim, I know it's been a busy morning in Utah as the investigation continues. What's the latest?
Yeah, we got that big update in the news conference with the Utah Department of Public Safety as well as the FBI earlier this morning, in which they laid out some of the evidence they found so far. The big one, of course, as you mentioned, Mark, is that high-powered rifle that they found in a wooded area. They say they also have a palm print and a footprint and some really good surveillance video that they believe will help them ultimately track the shooter. This has been a non-stop investigation. Officers worked well into the night, overnight, and of course now into the morning. We watched as local, state, and federal law enforcement officers combed this massive crime scene that is the campus of Utah Valley University. Of course, the FBI is heavily involved. Federal agents have been going in and out of some of the buildings, presumably looking for any potential evidence. Campus, understandably so, is closed the rest of the week, so those officers and investigators have the space all to themselves, but that hasn't stopped some people from dropping off flowers, candles, and other items at some of the memorials here on campus. Back to the investigation itself. In that news conference this morning, they outlined some of the ways they were able to kind of figure out where this shooter was and when.
Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood.
So we have seen a few people, again, as daylight comes, more people dropping off flowers and visiting some of the memorials. I'd expect that will continue throughout the day. I did talk to a Utah Valley junior last night around midnight. It was his first time back on campus since attending the event earlier in the day. He told me that when it all went down, it felt like, quote, the start of hell. Live in Orem. Jim Nelson. Mark?
Yeah, Jim, and that quote is pretty powerful, as was some of the video that we just showed. So many people there, obviously, with their cell phones getting video as well. We heard the FBI talking this morning about they want any of that data, that evidence, video and pictures. I imagine they will have hours to comb through, and you never know what might be a key piece of evidence.
Yeah, and of course, the video from people who were here will play an integral role in the investigation. But if you remember at the outset of the investigation, they said they wanted anybody to review Ring camera footage. And based on that timeline they provided this morning of the shooter going into a neighborhood, they believe that that could play an even bigger role. And I know they've been doing a lot of canvassing, no telling exactly what they have, but they did reference good, high quality surveillance video that has a pretty clear image. They aren't releasing that yet, but they think that will be a big help in their investigation, Mark.
Yeah, really hard to avoid being on camera almost anywhere these days. Jim Nelson from our sister station out of Utah this morning. Thank you for that update. As we turn our attention to Texas politicians on both sides of the political aisle speaking out after Charlie Kirk's death. Newly crowned Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico telling his supporters that political violence has no place in America. And Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare with a statement saying this is a terribly troubling time, but for a young woman and her children, they will live without their husband and father for the rest of their lives.